What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, and it is 72 days on since the Jose Mourinho sacking, and we finally have a manager. I'm going to keep saying it in every video because I'm just so happy that we've got a manager through the door, finally. But
no, you can always do a Gattuso. Don't want to get too comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'm happy that we didn't get Gattuso, and we've got Nuno Santos. So it's very brilliant. And you know, we just spoke to a Wolves fan, and he's talking about how great his man management skills. I mean, tactical flexibility. For the most part of his Wolves career, he played a 3 at the back system with the flying wing backs. Last year, he did try and go a bit more attacking, but didn't really work out for him because of the injuries and what have you, playing a 4 at the back system. But what we're going to be looking at in this video, we've picked out 6 players who we think Nuno could really help coming into the club, who can really thrive under a Nuno system. And the first player we're going to be looking at is Matt Doherty, who was obviously one of his regulars at Wolves, and when we signed him just before his last season. So he's definitely one who we see that can come on leaps and bounds, seeing as his first season was definitely a letdown at Spurs.
It definitely was, but he'll now have a manager who knows exactly how to use him, exactly what he's good at, exactly what he can do, exactly what he can't do, which Mourinho would always say. It's very important to know what you can't do as well as what you can do.
True.
And I think Nuno, for sure, knows how to get the best out of Matt Doherty, knows what system to play with Doherty in the team. So it's obviously his obvious choice. He was played his best football under Nuno in that wing-back system, very attacking, and he knows exactly what Doherty's strengths are, which is getting in the box, getting in those positions where you can make a difference in the final third. And under Mourinho, he never really got the opportunity, I felt, to be that fullback he was at Wolves. And that was always my biggest worry when Doherty came in, is would he be allowed to get in those positions? But hopefully, under Nuno, a manager he knows well, and maybe we can see the old Matt Doherty again.
Yeah, I mean, he did see quite a lot of football last season, Matt. Very rarely in his kind of favoured position in a kind of 3 at the back system, him on the right and a flying wing back. I mean, but when we did on a handful of occasions, we saw him play that system. Still wasn't great though, was it? I mean, I think maybe he just needed like a long extended run with that system, but that wasn't ever afforded.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't have enough ample opportunity in that position. I always felt, even when we did play 5 at the back, I always felt like he still wasn't given that license he was under Wolves. So it'll be interesting to see how it happens. I'm pretty sure now that seals any thoughts of him being sold. I think Nuno coming in, I agree with that. I don't think he's going anywhere now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And which probably means I think Aurier is probably still going to be sold. So
yeah,
he could very well go into the season as our number 1 right back. He could very well. But let's move on to the second player we're going to look at, and that is Steven Bergwijn. Didn't score a goal. He scored 1 actually.
One goal right at the end.
Yeah, he scored 1 right at the end against Leicester. But look, by all accounts, he had a shocking season last year in terms of his output. I think first half of the season, he definitely put in like a big shift for the team, that's for sure. But he's one that I think Nuno could really get the best out of, seeing as, you know, the wingers he got the best out of at Wolves with Adama Traore and Pedro Neto. And Traore is really one who I think has got a very similar style of play to Bergwijn.
I actually see him more as a Diogo Jota.
Really?
That's how I see it. That's how I think he can mould him into. Someone with pace, someone who, when he gets in that final third, if with a bit more... if he could manage to get into those shooting positions. I think Bergwijn actually is not bad at getting to those shooting positions when given the opportunity. And he can shoot with a lot of power. And although he's a bit raw with his finishing, very much like Jota, he's very much, I think, a player with ability to get multiple shots off per game and be kind of sharp. And I actually can see him. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we occasionally play 2 up top and Bergwijn might even be one of the strikers. I can actually see Nuno moulding him into a bit of a Jota kind of player, and that's what excites me about a potential Nuno moulding him. Obviously, we've seen what he could do with Neto as well and Adama Traore. I don't see him as kind of a Traore. I definitely see him as closer to a Neto kind of player, Bergwijn. And either way, we've seen what Nuno can do with these wingers and how he can develop them. And maybe Bergwijn is definitely one who's still young, has a lot of potential. Haven't seen the best of him at Tottenham, but I think with a new kind of set of eyes, a new approach, I definitely think he can definitely benefit.
That's really interesting you say that, because ever since he joined Tottenham, I've always likened him to Traore. Always likened him to a Traore because, you know, a wing player who's got blistering pace, and sometimes his kind of final product can be found wanting a bit. And I think that with Traore, that was definitely the case at the start of his Wolves career. And I think as Nuno was moulding him more and more, his final product did get better and better and better. Well, last season it still wasn't the best, but I think the season before was probably his best season in the Wolves.
Yeah, regressed a bit last year, but 100% the season before he was brilliant. But think about where he was playing him. Occasionally he was playing him up front, wasn't he, in a 2? And that's also one of the ways he got the best out of Traore. I see what you're saying. I feel like Bergwijn doesn't quite have that unbelievable blistering pace that Traore has, which is that weapon which no one could combat if you get it right. Bergwijn doesn't quite have that, and I see him more in terms of style of play, in terms of pace, and in the final third. For me, he's a bit more similar to Jota than he is to Traore. That's how I see it.
Interesting. But let us know in the comment section below. Bergwijn is the number 2 player we've got on that list, and now number 3. So we knew Simeon had to pull him in there somehow. Is Harry Winks. I mean, for me, I think he's going to be sold this summer. I really believe he's going to be sold this summer. And if he is sold this summer, I mean, the dream would be selling him for around 20-25 million and getting a Ruben Neves for 30-35 million. I mean, that would be the dream for me.
It would be, but I think if we are to keep him, which is also a very likely possibility, you know, you need to find a buyer at the end of the day. You need someone to splash quite a hefty fee on him.
Aston Villa.
So if we do end up keeping him, I do think Nuno has worked well with these technicians in the centre, with Neves and Moutinho, players of that. Obviously, Neves is a bit different to Winks in terms of he can shoot and Winks can't, but in terms of Moutinho, a player who could keep the play ticking, a player who controls the game from the centre, and he knows exactly how to use those kind of players. I felt like he didn't really have a place in the team under Mourinho, where he fancied those strong defensive players in the centre. Like we were always at our best when we had Højbjerg and Sissoko. Pretty much that's where our best performances came under Mourinho. He didn't really have a place for Winks, but I feel like under Nuno, maybe Winks can find a home and have a manager who knows how to use him.
Interesting. We'll have to see how that one plans out. But to be honest, I tell you the truth, I'm not really holding my breath on Harry Winks. But look, at the end of the day, I want him to prove me wrong. So let's hope you're right. Let's move on to number 4, and that's going to be Giovanni Lo Celso. Had a poor season last year by all accounts, mainly down to injury in my opinion. But when he did get on the pitch, I mean, it wasn't the greatest from Gio, yeah, because we know what quality he has, and we know he can produce much more than he did last season. And I, for one, was always backing Giovanni, but it kind of got hard to back him towards the end of the season because he was pulling out a few poor displays. But I do back Nuno to kind of really improve him. Like we said for Bergwijn, he's improved so many attacking players for Wolves, as well as the central midfield players in what's his name, Neves and Moutinho as well, who've really got the best out of him at Wolves. So I think he can marry the two of like the central midfielders and the attacking players with Giovanni Lo Celso.
Yeah, and I feel like either whatever formation Nuno plays, whether it be a 3 at the back with 2 centre mids, he can play in that system. If he plays with 2 up top and 1 player just in behind, he can play in that position as well. If he plays a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, he can play in all those positions. He's so versatile in that centre. I think he's definitely always going to find a home under Nuno, and I think he's definitely the kind of player Nuno's going to love playing with and knowing how to use him. So I think Giovanni Lo Celso is definitely a player that Nuno's going to look forward to working with, and he's going to thrive, in my opinion.
Yeah, completely agree there. Let's move on to the 5th player we're going to look at is Sergio Reguilón. Last season, Reguilón started off his Spurs career like a house on fire. He was brilliant in the first half of the season, tailed off massively in the second half of the season, in my opinion. And we all know with Nuno, he loves his flying fullbacks. You can see with Doherty, Johnny, Ait-Nouri, you know, all these fullbacks that really came on under Nuno. So I believe that he can really coach Reguilón and recoach Matt Doherty into turning into real storming fullbacks for us.
Definitely, and we saw what damage Reguilón can do when he's given license to move forward. He's got a fantastic delivery on him. He's got blistering pace, and when given the opportunity, he can also be decent defending when he calms down, when he's not too excited. But I think there's a very good left back who had a very tough time in the second half of the season, but is an extremely talented left back ready to be unlocked there, and he can definitely be a massive element to the attack. And what I want to see more from Reguilón is what he's done with Doherty on that side for Wolves, is get him to get into the box more, maybe to get him to arrive late more at the back post, at things like that. If we do play a 3 at the back, get him more involved right in there in the final third, making a difference with late runs, because I really think Reguilón could be an absolute dream with his pace and his determination in that position. So I'm excited to see what he can do with him.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think I absolutely love Reguilón as a player, and I was such a shame to see him tail off in the second half of the season like he did. But I definitely back him to have a good season next season under Nuno, that's for sure. And the last player we're going to be talking about is Joe Rodon, one of the stars of Euro 2020 for Wales. I think he's been absolutely brilliant for Wales, and I think he's shown what he can produce on a football pitch. I mean, he was starting to get into the starting lineup last season with Jose Mourinho, and then when Jose got sacked, he never saw another minute of the season under Ryan Mason. But I think that for Wales in the Euros, he's shown what a top quality player he can be, not just against the poor opposition they played, but against the good opposition in the Italies as well. I thought he was absolutely astonishing. And I think that when you look at the kind of defenders that Nuno has brought on against Wolves, I think that the main one you're going to talk about is Conor Coady, and Nuno got him in the England squad at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And that is a massive praise on Nuno's part. And I think when you're looking at the Spurs defence in an Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, Toby Alderweireld, I think Joe Rodon, I think Nuno will be looking at Joe Rodon to start for next season. I really do.
I definitely think so, and considering his age, he'll definitely look to mould him in how he wants his centre backs to play. And he's also got he also has experience in bringing maybe younger centre backs as well. You think of Max Kilman, how much time he had last season, and he was really good when he came in. You got to think of as well, Roman Saiss did a really great job when he came in at centre back as well. So I think Willy Bolly as well, he wasn't like an amazing centre-back before Nuno came in, and he became a very good Premier League standard centre-back. So he's got pedigree in that position. I think Rodon, with the more time he spends with Nuno, hopefully learned how to position himself in that back three. He's comfortable on the ball as well. We haven't really seen that yet in a Spurs shirt, but we know he's got composure, and he's not afraid to bring the ball out. And I'm sure Nuno in that back three is going to make sure Rodon has the confidence to play as himself and to be himself on the pitch, and not be too worried about always making a mistake or whatnot. And that's maybe that fearlessness he can bring to Rodon, which I'm looking forward to. So I really think Rodon next season, especially after a good Euros, is going to thrive under Nuno.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. So that is our 6 players who we think that can really thrive under Nuno Santos. So the 6 players we spoke about were Matt Doherty, Steven Bergwijn, Harry Winks, Giovanni Lo Celso, Sergio Reguilón and Joe Rodon. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or if you think any other players can really thrive under Nuno. And I think one that we missed out was probably Tanguy Ndombele, because I think he can really thrive under Nuno as well. So for very similar reasons that we've said about Giovanni Lo Celso.
Could say Harry Kane if he stays as well.
Yeah.
Son.
Yeah, definitely. But Harry Kane will thrive under anyone.
Exactly.
But look, thank you for watching today. As I said, let me know in the comment section below if you think any other players in our squad currently will thrive under Nuno. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.